Yeah, I'm here with Dr. Chris Pincetich, and just want to ask him a couple of questions. You know, we've been getting these reports about fish offshore in like 60, 80 feet of water where divers that have been telling us they're seeing these piles of dead fish that are like 5, 6 feet thick of dead fish, and they're on the bottom. And when I told him about it, it kind of disturbed him, so I wanted to get his input on it and his opinion, his theory maybe about why that could be happening. So here we have Chris. What do you think, Chris?
That's really shocking news. Obviously, we've heard a lot about wildlife cover-ups involved with the oil spill. A lot of them are, friend of a friend of a friend accounts. So, getting this film, getting this documented is super critical at this time. In terms of how did this come about, what does this mean? Obviously, it's not something you'd normally see. I've been in close communication with some biologists and some other people like yourself that are journalists and out in the field a lot, without any bias, totally independent observers, and they're showing me pictures of big old redfish off of Horn Island just floating there dead, big old nice looking fish offshore just floating up half alive. Obviously there's been a huge impact to the ecosystem. The smaller sensitive organisms are going to die off first, and those are the basis for the food chain. Anything that has the coating of oil and dispersants that's being eaten by the fish is going to get ingested, and it's going to produce an exposure that could have those lethal effects. So it's very possible what we're seeing is a large scale food chain lethal exposure to contamination, whether that is contamination through the oil needs to be determined. Liver samples would be a good evidence there. We know every time this time of year, now not in Florida, but in this area we're here in Louisiana, there's a giant area with no oxygen, this hypoxic zone that forms in the delta. That would cause a massive fish kill. Red tide would cause a massive fish kill. So there's definitely needs to be some recovery and some ground truthing to figure out why that happened, but that's not normal. That is not something that you would normally see in the ecosystem.
Right. Normally you would see the fish rise to the top. You wouldn't see them stacked up on the seafloor, right?
That's right. Yeah, normally they'd be floating and coming in. So to see a bunch that are submerged in that apparent quantity is really kind of shocking. So, I hope that you guys can get out in the field and bring back more evidence.
Well, that's what we're going to be trying to work on towards the end of this week.
Yeah.
We're going to try to get out and get video of the bottom, not only the dead fish, but also where the oil's on the bottom that we've heard the reports of off of Pensacola and Destin. Appreciate your input, Chris, and it was good hanging out with you today.
Yeah, definitely.